AI technology has achieved yet another remarkable leap in translating ancient Sumerian writings, and in so doing, discovered knowledge both breathtaking and profoundly disturbing regarding the nature of the origin of the human species. For millennia, these clay tablets languished in still museums and storage facilities, mute artifacts from a civilization that flowered centuries past in the fertile cradle of Mesopotamia. Their wedge-shaped characters were too broken, too detailed, and commonly too battered for researchers to properly interpret. There have been generations of researchers doing their best, working line by line with exquisite care, but the answers were incomplete and conjectural, akin to attempting to restore a huge mural from a few broken tiles. That was all upended with the advent of artificial intelligence. Where the human brain stumbled at the prospect of infinite complexity, AI succeeded. Through computation of thousands of broken inscriptions within mere seconds, it started assembling a narrative so sensational that it threatens the very foundations of what we know regarding human origins. How did it occur, and what did the machines actually find? In order to understand the scope of this discovery, one must trace the story from its earliest origin, far in the center of Sumer, where the earliest words of man were inscribed on clay and where, in these tablets, man itself was created intentionally by gods. If this kind of story touches your heart, if you're someone who cares about truth, responsibility, and speaking up for the voiceless, please like this video, subscribe to our channel Spark Science, and share it with someone who should hear it. Let's get started. The Sumerian tablets uncover nothing short of the creation of man by gods. To read their words is to look through a window of unimaginable age, wherein myth and memory blend. These are not mere mythic tales shared around a fire, they are formal stories scratched into baked clay, stored by happenstance through the millennia. And what they tell is not a tale of humans brought forth by mere cosmic happenstance, nor a tale of divine passion granting life. They speak instead of creatures made intentionally, with purpose, and for an ulterior motive that was not noble but pragmatic. Human beings' first purpose, the tablets say, was work. Human beings were made to bear burdens that even the gods themselves had come to find tiresome. This concept forces us to ask uncomfortable questions. What does it mean when the earliest known stories about our species describe us as workers created to ease the suffering of higher beings? Does that not suggest that servitude was written into our destiny from the very beginning? The story begins long before humans walked the earth, in an age when the gods themselves, called the Igigi, bore the crushing responsibilities of existence. These gods, immortal and powerful as they were, performed tireless labor, forming rivers, uplifting the earth, balancing nature, and conducting the eternal tasks of creation. And even gods, the tablets continue, tire. The inscriptions document their weariness in haunting verse. When the gods like men bore the work and suffered the toil of the gods was great, the work was heavy, the distress was much. Picture this for a moment, immortals straining under the labor of boundless work. The story almost humanizes them, reminding us that weariness, frustration, and the need for reprieve are universal drives. In their pleas for rescue, one is reminded of all workers in all eras who have ever raised a tool and wondered, how much longer do I have to put up with this? The pleas of the Igigi were heard by Nama, the ancient sea goddess, the unending mother whose waters it was believed life itself arose from. She could not turn a deaf ear to their agony. Sympathized by her, she went to her son Enki, the god of wisdom, magic, and fresh waters, who resided in the secret depths of the Abzu. Initially, Enki defied her pleas. He appeared hesitant to act, possibly because he had visions of the repercussions of interfering with creation. But the grumblings of the gods became intolerable, and Enki and finally Anu, the great god of the heavens, agreed at last that the workload was too great. The fateful choice was made: the issue would not be addressed by working more equally or by creating new means of easing it. They would give birth to a new race of creatures, made especially to take on the tasks that the gods themselves no longer wanted to do. Humanity, according to this version, was not born as children of divine affection but as the answer to divine fatigue, a labor force of flesh and blood. The creation of humans, however, did not come without effort. There was the need for sacrifice. There was a god named Gestu who was destined to die. His blood, imbued with the essence of the divine, was blended with the clay of the Abzu, that ancient underground sea. Out of this blend of earth and God, the first men were molded. The tablets declaim boldly, "You have slain a god along with his personality. I have taken away your heavy work. I have placed your labor on man." These ominous words unveil the duplicity of our origin. We were fashioned from something holy, with pieces of divinity inside us, but we were also born to be servants from the very beginning. In this paradox is one of the profound secrets of life. Are we creatures of boundless potential, or are we forever bound to the role that was handed to us by those who brought us into this world? Creation was a process that used many divine midwives. Ninmah, or Ninhursag, the mountain goddess and goddess of fertility, played the role of midwife. To her labor other goddesses labored: Ninimah, Suziana, Ninmada, Ninbereg, Ninmug, and Ninguna. With careful art, they shaped human forms, fashioning delicate flesh to accommodate the blood of a god. The function of these creatures was defined clearly: they were to plow the field, drive cattle, and make sacrifices to their makers. That is, the very cornerstones of early society, farming, herding, and worship, were inscribed into humanity's blueprint. Even today, one cannot help but notice the parallels. Humanity's earliest settlements were established on farming, shepherding, and ritual. Was this coincidence, or was it a direct echo of a blueprint set down millennia ago? Even the location of our creation bears enormous symbolic resonance. The tablets speak of a land Eden, not the paradise later depicted in biblical accounts but a flat country. This Eden was between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, the fertile crescent of Mesopotamia where Sumerian civilization existed. The name itself would one day become a great symbol of lost perfection, but in its first occurrence here, it was nothing more than an ascription of geography. But it was here, in this land, in this cradle of civilization, that the earliest humans worked for their gods, fashioned in the image of divine creatures but obligated to serve. And when the words whisper that humans were created, in likeness to the gods, is it not suggesting something that would spread across the centuries among cultures, a sense that within us is a reflection of the divine, however dimmed by our shackles? But the story becomes darker yet. For in these AI-translated texts, the gods were not satisfied with their first creation. The initial humans were defective in the eyes of the Anunnaki, the superior order of gods that governed Sumer. They could not be created spontaneously. Every new human needed to be created directly by divine act. This made them completely controllable, because the survival of humankind was dependent on the desires of the gods. Humans were living tools, useful but disposable, as with machines needing to be assembled. The work that was given to them was arduous. They dug ditches to water crops, worked in farms, and excavated far beneath the earth. Picture this life: to be born not for freedom or happiness but to work tirelessly, your life built into the service of others. What is it to be human in such a life? Are we free, or are we coded? But change was on its way. Enki, always the god of wisdom and mercy, perceived the possibility of something greater. With his wife Ninki, he performed an experiment to change humanity's blueprint. The outcome was Adapa, the first man who could reproduce, the prototype of real independence. Unlike his ancestors, Adapa was blessed with wisdom and exceptional intelligence. Enki endowed him with gifts of wisdom and made him chief among men. Adapa was a priest in Eridu, caring for rituals, baking sacred bread and water, and fishing in the Persian Gulf. He existed not as a simple beast of burden but as one of understanding and authority. Even his tale is tinged with tragedy, however. Adapa had once been called in front of Anu, the deity of the sky, who had presented him with an opportunity for immortality. But cautioned by Enki against eating the food of the gods, Adapa declined. In doing so, he unknowingly damned mankind as a mortal species. In one of the most bitter ironies of myth, the man smart enough to guide humanity sacrificed to them the gift of eternal life because he had faith in his Creator's advice. Was it a test, or was it manipulation to prevent humans from ever evolving beyond what they were? This moment reverberates across the millennia, questioning trust, dishonesty, and the limits of human potential. The argument between Enki and his brother Enlil became more intense. Enki wanted to bring humanity up, to give them knowledge and freedom, while Enlil wanted humans to remain servants. Humans were noisy, disordered, and threatening in their increasing autonomy to Enlil. This conflict between liberty and domination broke out in heaven tumult. Enlil, indignant at human expansion, conspired to destroy them. The tablets speak of a worldwide flood sent to cleanse the earth of humanity. But Enki, not wanting his creation destroyed, disobeyed his brother. He breathed secret advice to a chosen man, one who is familiar to us from subsequent legends as Noah, teaching him to construct an ark and save life. And so, mankind survived, not due to destiny, but due to the mercy and defiance of one God. These disclosures, previously incomplete and controversial, now surface in vivid clarity via AI examination. They upset everything we think we know of our past. Rather than slow evolution by itself or divine kindness, they propose mankind was designed, rewritten, and in the crossfire of the struggles of gods. They compel us to face issues that cut to the heart of our own existence. Are we our own free agents, or are we creations shaped for service? How much of our fate is ours to control, and how much was scripted into us by unseen hands?